Hey guys, let's do the Leetcode 26, remove duplicates from sorted array. I guess we did this problem once before, but that was in Python. But this time we are going to give it a shot in C. So just to see how easy it is to do this in C. So the problem is very simple, that you are given a sorted array and you have to remove the duplicates in place such that each element appears only once and return the new length. We are not allowed to allocate any extra space for another array. You must do this by modifying the input array in place with O1 extra memory. So no extra allocation. And then what he says is that you're basically given a reference, in our case, because it is C, a pointer to the initial array's first element, and then you're basically working on the reference, and that will be reflected in the caller, and you're supposed to return a length uh, using the length returned by your function. It prints the first line element, so you're supposed to return a length of the new array. I mean, the array is the same, but you're supposed to return the length of the place, length of the length in the given input array where you think you have all the unique elements. So basically, you just return the length, and it's saying it doesn't matter what value you just set beyond the return length. So you're working on the input array, you're just returning a length saying that hey, up to that element now you have unique elements, and do not worry about deallocating the remaining elements or anything like that. So that's not your problem. So let's try to do this problem. So the approach we are going to take is the same as we did in Python. What we would do is, I suppose you're given this kind of input. Now, if you're given an input like this, then what we can do is, we know that we need an index in the given input array where we would be writing. So we need a write index. Think of this as a write index. And what is write index? Write index in the sense that that's where you would be writing the unique element that you find, and keep skipping if it is not unique. So let's start walking. So we say for int I equal to 0, I less than num size I plus plus. And then now let's try to see what we can do here. What we can do is that we are going to check if AI plus 1 is not equal to AI. If AI plus 1 is not equal to AI, that means that element is a unique element, and that needs to be written at index 1. Now let's see what are the gotchas here. I can see one gotcha right away, because you see I plus 1 we are doing, right? So now you're at the last element. This whole array num size, it will go from 0 to nums size minus 1. So these are all the indexes in the array basically of size num size. Now when you do AI plus 1, imagine you are at this element here. This plus 1 will cause it to basically go beyond the bounds of the array. So I think what it says is we can only go up to minus 1, so that we can compare the I would be at num size minus 2 and I plus 1 will be num size minus 1. And in that case, if that is not, then we can simply write, by the way, there is no A, the given input array is nums, so not A. So that can be easily fixed. So now we're going to write nums at index. What are we going to write? We're going to write nums I plus 1, because we found a unique element, right? So and then it seems that at the end of all this, when you come out of the for loop, you can just return the index. Oh, one more thing, by the way. If the write was done indeed, then we need to modify or update the write index, because that's where we would do our next write. Then we can return index, right? So that, let's see if that works. And we have a problem, and the problem is saying is that you have line 11 is saying, I see, you see, bad habits die hard. So once you go from C to Python, you'll have to unlearn it. For everything needs to be declared. This is C, this is not Python. You can simply say index equal to 1. So everything has to be declared. Every variable has to be declared of its type. This is strongly typed language. Alright, so there you go. So that basically takes care of that. That fixes that. Just submit, what happens. Alright, we have a problem. What is the problem? Let's see. It's saying last executed input is nothing basically. He is giving an empty array. In that case, num size will be 0. But have we taken care of it? What would happen if num size is 0? Index is set to 1. We don't enter the loop because num size is 0. 0 minus 1 is minus 1. So this is condition is never satisfied. We just return 1. Which is wrong because it was a 0, it was empty array. So we should have just returned 0. So in that case, what we can do is we can have a condition here which says if num's size equal to 0, then we just return num size, whatever the heck, or we could have returned 0, right? There you go. So that still fixes the old case, but let's see submit passes this time. Alright, so this has passed. So what are the test cases Leetcode had for us have basically pretty much passed, and that's the solution to this problem in C. So I would say what are the main points here that I will take away from this problem, which is that we have to keep track of the write index where we do the write when we find a unique element, and we also have to make sure that if we have an input array of size 0, we just have to take care of the special condition of just making sure that we pass 0 back. So basically return num size. We basically return num size in that case. Whatever the 0 means, we just return 0, empty array. Otherwise, we start with index 1. Why do we start at index 1? Because you see, the first element is already unique. It's everything duplicate. It starts after the 0th element, and that's where we would be writing. Index 1 is the place where we would do our first write, if at all we do that. So if we have unique elements all the way, all the elements are unique, then what would happen? Then then you basically just have everything going fine, because you see, imagine you had given something like, let's say we are passing input of 1, 2, 3, 4. This is all unique. So in this case, the length will be 4. Index will start as 1. I equal to 0. Okay, I plus 1. This is 1. And is this not? So I think this condition is satisfied. I plus 1 is not equal to num size. Then num's index, which is 1, we would just write I plus 1. So we are basically writing the same element, like 2 at 2, 3 at 3. And I mean 1, like if you take the index going from 0, 1, 2, 3. So, and if you had like unique, like duplicates, so for example in this case, what would happen in this case? In this case, what would happen is we would, index would be updated when we hit this case here, and in that case 2 would be written at where the current one is, like the second one is at index 1. So that's why it basically working so far. I see. See, in this case it's possible. Everything is possible. It's looking good. So I guess that's in retrospect, it sounds like a very doable problem, and I would not um, fault the interviewer for giving this problem in the interviews, because it sounds fairly less cumbersome to do. It will be easy to do, I would say. And with that, I would leave you guys alone and doing your practice for the interviews. I will see you in the next video. Until then, goodbye, take care, and happy lead coding.